Hey, so good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are having a blessed day. Got another thought I want to flush out. This is maybe a little different than what I normally do, but I want to talk about. This is a DIY session today, discussion: how to kill a giant. How to kill a giant, and I'm going to be referring back to 1 Samuel 17. We're going to be talking about the interaction between David and Goliath, how David came to be, his giants that he had to face, the whole 9 yards from that perspective. And I'm going to be skipping through this chapter, but I want to start off as talking about who David was. Now, you got to remember, David at this point had already been anointed king of Israel. The beginning chapters, Samuel had already came and had Jesse's sons lined up. And he's like, well, God told him, well, none of these are it. Because, at this point, Saul had already been replaced. Even though he was still in charge at this time, God had left him. And he was being replaced by David because of Saul's disobedience. Okay, so, here we have David, who is in the field, shepherding, going about his everyday life. And Samuel shows up, the prophet shows up, and he had all Jesse's sons lined up, and he went through each one of them. And he said, none of these are it. Don't you have another? Don't you have another? I'm going to ask you today, are you that other? Are you that other? That somewhere, anointed in the field, doing your everyday work, not getting any shine, not getting any limelight, going through the rigors of life, just doing what you do. Okay, there's training in what you do. So fast forward, we have Jesse sent his sons out. Jesse sent David out to go see his other three sons, his older son that was on the battle lines against the Philistines. So Jesse goes, and here we have, the word says that, Israel was on one hill, the Philistines were on another, and there was a valley in between. Hear me. So, there's a lot of times in our lives, we can see the enemy. I'm over here and I'm looking at the enemy over here. I'm looking at him. I'm here and I'm looking at him. But, in order to deal with that, it's in the valley. It's in the valley. And a lot of times, as you will see here, we are warded off, or we don't approach it because we're in fear of what the enemy is saying. So a lot of times, I was reading in, I think it was Exodus the other day, and we were talking about, this is where Joshua has sent spies over to case out the land. Okay, and when he got to Rahab's place, Rahab had the apartment that was on the wall, and Joseph's the spies reported that Rahab had told them that the people were already in fear of what they had heard about what the God of Israel had already done. So they were already defeated before Jericho was approached. Hear me. They were already, so a lot of times we can be talked out of our blessings because we're in fear before it even happens. Let's go to on 1 Samuel 17 and 11. I'm going to read a few verses. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all of the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. On just hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and Saul's time he was very old. 13. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn of Eliab, the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul. But David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep in Bethlehem. See, David had the opportunity to go from the palace down to the lowlands. and everything in between. I'm here to tell someone on this day that don't belittle the in between, because what you're doing out in the field is preparing you for what's to come. Let's go to 16. For 40 days, the Philistine came forward every morning and evening and took his stand. They're talking about Goliath. Now Jesse said to his son David, take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander of their unit. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines. Early in the morning, David left the flock in care of a shepherd. David left his flock in care of a shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Before I go any further, I want to go back to verse 11. And here are the notes I took. You can lose the battle of the mind by magnifying someone else's word. Now, you heard me mention when we talk about it. You know, a lot of times the most effective fights are the fights you never have to have. I'm going to say that again. The most effective fights are the fights that you never have to have. See, here we are with the Philistines and the Israelites, and by the mere words of Goliath, he was in their heads. He had talked them out of even approaching him. I am not doubting that someone else couldn't have beat Goliath, but he had him so afraid, even from the top leadership, from Saul and everybody below him. Everybody that was on those lines were terrified of Goliath's words. He never even had to fight. He was scared of their words. How many times have you, in elementary and junior high, have you been witness of a bully? And most times the bully hasn't done anything but walk around and be tout and speak big words. But no one ever just come hit him in the mouth. Hear me. How many times have you witnessed that? That loud mouth that everybody else is just offended and scared of because they're loud. They're loud. But most times they're just loud. They're loud. And they're big. And they're boastful. Their imagery and everything says that there's something that you should be afraid of. But if you notice that you never ever got the chance to see what they could actually do, you saw their potential, but you never seen any fruit. Hear me. Some of us are dealing with that today. We're facing the fears of things that are loud, that most of the time are not even effective at all. At all. Let's move on, but let's talk about that. You got to think about that. I want you to go back through and see, look at some of your fears and question, why are you afraid of them? Do you actually have anything to be afraid of other than speculation? 17 and 22. David left his things with the keeper of supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. He ran to the battle line to ask his brothers. As he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. So here we go. We got the bully stepping up again like clockwork and spewing his usual defiance. His usual defiance that works every day. You know, remember, they've been doing this for 40 days now. He's spouting out his usual defiance that usually works. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. 24. Let's go to 25. Now the Israelites have been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage, and he will exempt his family from taxes in Israel. So let's go to 28. We're going to fast forward to 28. Here we have the brother. And this is where I want to point out to you my note. Be aware of those that are jealous of you. Be aware of those that are jealous of you in the midst of your battles. And you'll see why here in a second. When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger and asked him, "Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few little sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle." Now, this is what I want to point out here. I just told you, be aware of those that are jealous of you. See, those that are jealous of you will have the tendency to belittle what you've done and to belittle what you do. Have you ever had somebody look at you, "Oh, look at your little car there. Oh, you got a cute little house there." They always throw the little in it to keep you mentally where they want you to be. "Oh, look at you. You do well doing that. Look at your little, look at your little business. Oh, look at your little faith. Oh, look at you." When someone tells you who they are and shows you who they are, more so show you, believe them. See, that's just another way of saying that you're intimidating them. That's just another way to say that I notice what you're doing, but I'm going to keep you right there because I don't want, in my own mind, to feel like you're bigger than me. So I'm going to keep you where you are because I see you as a threat. "Oh, look at your little, oh, ain't that cute?" And they belittle what you're doing. And then what that does is keep you where they want you to be because most of the time we allow it. See, we won't allow what we're doing to be shown for what it really is because we allow their words to tell us that it's little. Let's move on to 32. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You're not able to go out against the Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man. He has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep when a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock. I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair and struck it and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul said to David, "Go, and Lord be with you." A couple points I want to bring out with that. I want you to go back and recognize what you've already done in your past as tools. See, I think a lot of times, as I said before, when we allow people to belittle where we are, saying, "Oh, look at your little business." See, in that little business that you started, there were struggles that came along that no one knows about. See, I'm quite sure that David was not allowed to go back to his mighty brothers who are on the front line and been trained to fight battles. They didn't listen or did not care to hear about David's episodes or adventures out in the field when nobody else was looking. See, when David had to fight to go get that one sheep that a lion may have took or a bear may have took, he didn't get accolades for that. That's just something he did in his everyday. See, as you're building your little business or as you're raising your little family, there are battles and experience that is being had that you're just looking at as being, "Oh, I'm just raising my family. Oh, I'm just doing what I do. I'm not looking at what I'm doing because it's something great. I'm just in the trenches surviving, doing what I have to do to survive." I'm trying to tell you on this day that in you being who you are, there's experience that's being had. You're just not looking at it that way. Here we have David saying, "I'm not afraid of this Philistine." See, because this Philistine is like the bear to me. See, I'm going to relate this giant that I'm facing right now to what I've already done in my past. See, there's a lot of things I've already conquered. You see, most of the time, we don't associate the one with the other. If I can beat this, then I can beat that. If I can conquer this, then I can conquer that. Stop magnifying the giants and look at what you've already done. Look at what you've already done in your own strength. Look at what you've already done when you went in the strength that you had, because that's what you had to do. See, in those nights where you were laying up crying and fighting battles that no one else is privy to, you were doing just that. So don't give your giants too much credit. Don't think because you didn't have formal training on the battlefield that you haven't had unconditional or conventional warfare training. You've already had unconventional warfare training. Hear me? Because the same strength that you beat the bear and the lion to save your child, or to put food on the table, or to save your business, or to fight for your marriage, is the same strength you had to go in to kill this giant. Stop letting this loud giant make you think that, oh, your little battles over here can't compare to this because it's loud. Hear me. You've already been trained. I've already been trained. I've already been trained in unconventional warfare to beat giants. There's nothing more attractive than confidence. Let me give you the verse to that. See, the Israelites were afraid of Goliath because Goliath came with a level of confidence that was intimidating. They were impressed. They were so impressed with Goliath, they allowed that his persona to spark fear in them. It grew in them. They were so impressed. See, you gotta look at that. They were impressed with Goliath. See, Goliath's confidence stopped him from never having to have a fight. Hear me. So just think, if you walked in a level of swagger because of all the battles and all the things that you've already done in your life, walk in that swagger. Walk in it. Own it. There's nothing like owning who you are. There's strength and there's power with already in you. See, you don't have to go and learn how to do something that you've already been doing. Hear me. There was a point in my life where I struggled with some things because I didn't have the approval of man. I didn't have the documentation of man. I didn't have the proper degrees that man say you have to be what they want to call you. But the Lord came to me when they said, why are you looking for man to qualify you on something that I've already told you who you were? I've already told you who you are. Why do you need them to qualify? See, go in the strength that you already have. Go in the experience that you already have. See, you've been trained. In those midnight hours when you were worrying about things, you are being trained for this very fight right here. But see, you've lost sight of what you've already done. You've lost sight of what you've already done. See, you're belittling what you've already done. Oh, those little fights. See, magnify those fights that you've already had. Magnify the Lord here. And I'll show you those fights and those that I've already brought you through. So that for this giant that you're talking about over here, it's not really that big when you look at what you've already done. See, you can't be intimidated because, well, I've already faced that. See, so as you're standing on this one hill over here, looking at your giant over here, that valley there, look at the valley. Look at the valley that you've already been in. See, and you'll find that, you know what? I've already done that. I want you on this day to stop belittling what you've already done. Magnify what you've already done through God, who told you to go in the strength that you have, and I'll be there. Did I not send you? This is what he told Gideon. Go in the strength that you have, and I will be with you. I'm asking you on this day to stop magnifying the giant. Stop idolizing his confidence. And look at the confidence that you have in God. Look at the battles he's already taken you through. Magnify the Lord. And taste how good it is. Oh, magnify the Lord. Magnify the Lord in the battles he's already brought you to. Bring to your remembrance the battles that you've already faced. And you will see that, you know what? This giant over here is not that big. I've been there and done that. I'll go. I'll go in the strength that I have with the tools that I already have. See, I don't need your armor, Saul. I have my own. I'm going to go with these 5 smooth stones that I'm familiar with, and I'll fight with that. I'll take out the enemies with the tools that I'm familiar with. I don't need your tools, Saul. I've been trained well. With my little rocks, we have a big swing. With my little rocks, we've done big things. Amen. Run to the battle. We'll talk soon.